Teachers in New South Wales are taking industrial action this morning.
Ignoring pleas to hold their 2-hour meetings outside school hours, teachers will now stop work at 9 o'clock. Joining us is the President of the New South Wales Teachers Federation, Maury Mulheron. He joins us from Sydney. Good morning. Thanks for your time. Now, this is all about school principals having more autonomy, but why are you taking this action outside of school hours? During school hours, sorry.
We're not taking action over principals' autonomy. We have a belief that there should be more flexibility and autonomy. But this is about a New South Wales government that's using that as a wolf in sheep's clothing to cut back on staffing formulae, remove specialist positions, executive positions out of schools, deregulate class sizes, and effectively casualise the teaching workforce, where permanent teachers, once they retire or leave the school, they won't necessarily be replaced with another permanent teacher, but be replaced with a casual or a temporary teacher. It's effectively about reducing the number of people employed in our schools and how much they're paid.
Well, why not take this action outside of school hours?
We've been meeting after school now for weeks. We've met after school on many occasions. We've been meeting on the weekend. I've addressed meetings all over New South Wales. We've been putting to the government now for months, why haven't you included the profession in this? In fact, there was an ambush on the profession. There's been a secret steering committee that the Department of Education in New South Wales has had since last August. There's no representatives on the profession on that since last August. And despite our requests, both formal and informally and in writing, to be included in this, we've been locked out. And instead, they've got an accountancy firm called PricewaterhouseCoopers that's been developing the staffing model for New South Wales schools. And there's only one reason why government brings in the accountants.
Do you think that parents and teachers are going to, parents will be sympathetic to your cause, given the disruption that this is likely to cause this morning?
Look, I'm mindful of the disruption, and that's why we've been trying to get the government to negotiate now for months. But of course, the greater concern for parents, I think, will be the disruption to their child's learning in the years to come, with the loss of specialist positions, when class sizes increase, when they see permanent positions being turned into temporary positions, when they see the loss of curriculum, the loss of senior curriculum choice because the school principal will unable to meet the budget. And this is actually a grab for centralised control, where the Treasury will really control the school's budget, and the principal will be just forced to cannibalise, rob Peter to pay Paul from within resources within a school. That's not giving principals any autonomy, that's just bullying them to have to make the cuts at the local level.
But how do you know that that's going to be the likely outcome? You've seen a proliferation of independent schools, say in states like Western Australia, and that hasn't been the result.
In Western Australia, in the so-called independent autonomous schools, 47% of the staff are now employed on short-term temporary contracts. That's that state. Victoria, which went down this road years ago, have 7,500 fewer teachers than in New South Wales. And in fact, in every single country, in every single public education system where they've devolved like this, it has led to defunding and cuts to staff. That's the reality, that's the truth. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing. The notion of school autonomy is just a marketing ploy that politicians use so that they can abrogate their responsibilities to resource and staff schools. That's why they love it so much.
OK, so what will it take to resolve this situation? The IRC made a recommendation on Wednesday that the Teachers Federation be given a seat on that steering committee. The Education Department, have they responded to you as yet?
Not yet, no. And of course, it's not just about being on that committee, although we would welcome involvement, of course. The government has to pause. The process to date has been absolutely flawed. They have to pause, review why they've handled it so badly. They've got the same people in the department who couldn't get disabled children to school early in this year. The same finance people in the department are now designing this. They need to pause, review, bring the expertise of the profession on board, and then we can take it from there.
Maury Mulheron, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.